Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. So first things first, I know the Leagues of Votann Codex has unfortunately leaked, so if you've already read through it and seen the leak videos and whatever, this won't necessarily be news to you, but as we've done with previous full leaks, I've decided not to go through each and every single leak and reveal and datasheet and rule and ability. We will just keep taking the Warcom articles as they come and cover those bits of news instead. And today on Warcom, we've been given a little look at a few of the stratagems that you can expect to be using with the upcoming Leagues of Votann Codex. If you've been following it at all though, as you may have seen over the last few days, there is a bit of a concern about the power and the strength of the new codex, and some of these stratagems do seem really quite good, and if nothing else, they do sometimes show a little bit of power creep compared to similar abilities in some of the earlier codexes. So I will do a couple of comparisons where I can, just to show off how they do compare. But first up, we have the Familial Loyalty stratagem, and this is a nice cheap 1 command point, and essentially gives an infantry or a biker unit the ability to heroically intervene. This is an ability which shows up quite often on certain units or army chapter tactics style abilities, and whilst it's nothing super fancy, this really can be a big deal, especially if you have things like maybe the relic we saw the other week that makes enemies strike last. You can really pile in with some of your units and do a huge amount of damage if, for example, you have a unit of berserks nice and close, which your opponent wasn't expecting to have to face. You can completely wipe out an enemy squad before they even get to swing. It of course gives you a great deal of potential for some extra damage in melee, but of course it also gives some much needed mobility to your army, which is something that I think the Votann may well struggle with a bit. So being able to use it to eke out a few extra inches of movement to get towards an objective or towards a key enemy unit could be well worthwhile, even if the squad you are using it on isn't going to add maybe a huge amount to a specific combat. If you are going heavy on the new grav bikes, then the Mag Rider stratagem is another which will really help to keep them around for a lot longer, and this is one of the ones where you can see a clear boost in its use compared to earlier versions of it. The stratagem is 1 CP, and it gives you the fairly standard -1 to be hit from ranged attacks, which is, fair, sure, lots of armies get that, but this one goes a step further and means that if your unit has advanced in its previous turn, your enemy also cannot reroll hit rolls against you. So as an example, this will drop something like a marine unit with rerolls from an 88% hit rate to just 50%, which really is a huge boost to your survivability. And on the comparison front, if we put it side by side with the Marines' skilled riders, that is the same 1 CP, but only gives you that -1 to hit, and only works if you have advanced. So it is comparatively way worse and less useful than this new Leagues of Votann version. And even in more recent codexes, like say the Eldari with their lightning fast reflexes, that still only affects the hit roll and doesn't prevent enemy rerolls. Of course, the Eldar one does work in melee as well as shooting, so there is a bit of a better compromise there, but I do think that still, for 1 CP, this is a very strong stratagem and is going to be a really powerful way to help keep your bikers alive as they are zooming all over the board. In terms of damage output, the leagues can also do some serious work with optimized volley, letting your bolt weapons get an extra hit on unmodified hit rolls of 6, or if they are shooting into a unit of 11 or more models, this gets bumped up to 2 extra hits, all for 1 command point. And this means that a regular squad of even just 10 Hearthkin warriors with their Autork pattern bolters can potentially be doing 20 hits from 20 shots at 24 inches against something like a horde of gaunts. And that should statistically let them kill a whopping 13 or 14 gaunts from a squad in just 1 volley, which, I mean, for 1 CP will definitely be putting a dent in your opponent's plans to swarm your battle lines. It's all in all another very decent stratagem. It's tempered a bit by being bolt weapons only, but still when you consider that Hearthkin warriors can be up to 20 strong and things like the Thunderkin have pretty devastating bolt cannons, this does still have a lot of potential if you were hoping to run a more Imperial Fist-esque style bolter gun line and just drown your enemy in firepower. The final stratagem they show off for us today is an objective holding one. Luck has, need keeps, toil earns is another 1 CP stratagem that you use on a core infantry unit, and when they are within range of an objective, they get auto pass morale, a 6+ wound shrug, and if they don't shoot or declare a charge, nothing can deny them from failing an action, unless they get wiped out, of course. So if you are in the endgame and you have a few guys on an objective that you just absolutely need to survive doing an action, this will give them a much better chance of A, not dying, B, not running away, and also C, not being denied the action from things like psychic powers or enemy stratagems or other abilities that they may have. It's a really useful end of the game style ability that will definitely help you to just eke out those final few victory points that you need to win the game. And it means that if your opponent has any counterplays or plans or abilities to deny your units doing actions, they just won't be anywhere near as effective against a Leagues of Votann army. So I do think this is one that you are definitely going to want to keep a command point or two in your back pocket for as a late game clutch tool, just in case you do need it. I think overall, whilst none of these stratagems are mind-blowingly game-breaking or OP in my opinion, they are all genuinely useful. And having such a nice variety of survivability, damage output, movement, and objective-related stratagems, especially when they often seem to be the same style of stratagems that we've seen before, just bumped up a notch in power or usefulness, is going to make the Leagues of Votann a really formidable enemy to try and outplay on the battlefields of 9th edition. But as always, what are your thoughts on these stratagems? Do you think they seem good? Do you think they seem great? Maybe they're a bit too strong compared to what your army has? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.